Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, a little empty space on the wall over there because the wall's going to be going under some construction soon, so you guys might see my wall behind me a little messed up, but we're going to put some stuff up, maybe have less stuff on the wall. Um, I don't know. Just need some change. It's been the same up there for quite some time, so just figured I'd rearrange it. But in this video, I wanted to talk about a fight that took place a couple weeks ago that I didn't get a chance to do a post fight video for, that I had a chance to watch. And I haven't really watched anybody's videos in regard to this fight, so there was no other opinions that could sway mine as far as this fight goes. And that fight is Oleksandr Usyk versus Breidis. It was the first fight in the semifinals of the cruiserweight portion of the World Boxing Super Series. Two undefeated champions, unification fight. At this point in Usyk's career, that was the best opponent he had fought. He comes out with a 12-round decision, and it's a fight where a lot of people said it was a close fight. And I think Breidis gave a great account of himself. I genuinely think Breidis gave a decent account of himself. He didn't really get knocked down. And that's what it was there. But it was a fight where I don't think it was a close fight. It was not a close fight. Like, at the end, you use the rules of boxing to score the fights, being effective aggression, ring generalship, defense. And as far as effective aggression goes, Breidis really wasn't the effective aggressor for the majority of that fight. He was throwing a lot of punches, and some of them were landing, but majority of them were hitting Usyk's gloves, or Usyk was slipping them. I thought Usyk was in control for the majority of the rounds with his jab, with the way he dictated the pace of the fight. And as the fight went on, round 4, 5, 6, he began to really put the pressure on, let combinations go, and he started landing pretty much at will with Breidis. I mean, I think, and I'm not trying to hate on Breidis. I really have no reason to hate Breidis. I think he's a good fighter. There's no reason to hate the guy. But I had a hard time. I mean, I gave him 3 rounds in that fight, and even in those 3 rounds I even think those were hard rounds to give him. I think you probably could only give him, if you're not being as generous as I was, you give him 2. You give him 2 rounds max, because that's a fight where Usyk, I thought, put on a clinic. I thought it was a boxing masterclass performance, and I think not enough people are talking about it, man. He went in there against a undefeated champion, one of the biggest punchers in the division, and from what I saw, he reduced the guy to a regular fighter. He made Breidis look like a regular fighter. Breidis, while he was trying to press the action, he had a hard time landing the effective shots on Usyk. He was getting out jabbed. When Usyk began to cut the ring off and walk him down, he was getting out fought. He was getting beat at his own game. I thought it was a great performance of the highest order. I think it was that fight there that, of all the performances Usyk has had so far in his career, that is the one that illustrates how great of a fighter he can become. I know he's a great talent, but I don't want to say he's a great fighter yet, because although he's picking up great wins in his resume, he still has a career to go, and we don't want to just give that to anybody. But he's a great talent. He has great potential to leave a mark in the sport, man. Usyk showed a lot in that night. And this fight was refereed by Kenny Bayless. I actually thought Bayless did a decent job. And for the most part, Usyk was just doing a good job using his legs to control the round. He pretty much was very composed, because I believe it was the 3rd or the 4th round. Breidis tied him up and he threw him to the floor, and he didn't lose his composure. He stayed composed. He was patient, picking his shots well, moving really wherever he wanted to be in the ring. He was there. He controlled. It was a masterpiece. And so I don't understand why people get off saying, "Oh, it was a close fight." I didn't see it was a close fight. Any flurries that Breidis was throwing, he withstood those flurries, and he implored his jab. He implored lateral movement, using angles, punching from every which angle. The dude looked like, he looked, if Vasyl Lomachenko was a cruiserweight, he'd be Oleksandr Usyk. That's what it was on the night. Because the way the punch selection he used, the way he varied the speed of his punches, the patience he showed, the lateral side to side movement, it was very reminiscent of Triple G. And they did both fight on the same Olympic team. They both were coached by his dad, so it was a it's not far fetched to call him that. Let's see what else. I have my notes here from every round I score. It's like you guys can see my notes. See, like right there. Yeah, man. But this dude, I mean, as the more the fight wore on, like I'm gonna use this term to describe Usyk's performance from that fight. The fight against Breidis was, I'm gonna call it a fine wine performance. And they say wine with time gets better, and that's what the Usyk performance against Breidis was. It was a fine wine performance because as the rounds went on, he got better, he got sharper, he got more in control of the rounds. And Breidis, to me, he was throwing these little flurries, and they were nice eye-catching punches. But like I said, they were hitting the gloves. Usyk had, they were hitting the gloves. Usyk was still at times moving forward, walking through the punches as the fight wore on. Usyk was countering off of them. And I just thought thus far, from all the fights that have taken place this year, I would have to say between the Usyk performance against Breidis and the Spence performance against Peterson, those are the two best performances of the year. And I would say that the Usyk performance is better than the Spence performance for the simple fact that, Spence was beating a former champion on the downside of his career. Usyk was fighting another undefeated champion, knockout artist in his prime, and reduced him to look like another fighter. So, for those of you guys out there who like thought Breidis made it a close fight, like, please tell me why you thought that was the case, because I really couldn't see it. The one interpretation I've heard of the fight from many people was that the first 6 rounds were even, and then Usyk made his adjustments, and then he took over from like the 7th, 8th round on, and then he finished the fight strong, and that's how he won. But that's not what I saw. What I saw was a guy who was in control the entire fight, defensively. When he did a punch, he was effective aggressively, and I saw one guy who was trying to impose himself on Usyk, but ultimately couldn't do it, couldn't land enough effective shots to do what he wanted to do. And as a byproduct of that, he was losing most of the rounds. And I find it hard to give him more than 2 or 3 rounds. It was really tough to find 2 or 3 rounds for him. And that's what it is. I thought Usyk, just delivered a sterling performance of the highest order. He's going to go fight Murat Gassiev, and that, to me, right there, if Murat Gassiev can find a way to get past that Usyk jab, we're going to be in for a hell of a fight, because stylistically, that's a great fight. You have Usyk being the bigger man out of the two, Usyk being the guy with Olympic pedigree, not a crazy knockout punch at the weight class, but a guy who will hit you hard enough to get your respect. And then you got Breidis, on the other hand, that in terms of his fundamentals, probably one of the best in boxing. He's got an underrated jab. Even I underrated his jab. Got an underrated jab. As far as how sharp his punches are, probably one of the sharpest combination punches in all boxing, and that has a potential to give Usyk some problems. So I'm going to be picking Usyk to win that fight, because I picked him to win the whole tournament before it started. But after what I saw, this man do to Dorticos, I mean, and granted, Dorticos, I'm not going to lie, it was kind of easy for me to pick that fight because Dorticos had not fought the level of opposition to warrant some of the hype he was getting. But Dorticos is still a very talented fighter, a guy that you look at, just forget the opponents, look at the skill set he shows in the ring, a guy that has a very solid jab, knows how to double up on the jab, triple up on the jab, throw the jab in different spots, is a high, has very good power, and overall, Gassiev, he himself had a fine wine performance. He got better as the fight wore on, and he put an exclamation point. So that fight right there, that has a chance to be fight of the year as far as excitement goes in the ring. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. And I think when it's all said and done, Usyk will prevail, and he'll be undisputed cruiserweight champion. But I'm looking forward to see what Gassiev brings to the table. And as for Breidis, good. He didn't lose that fight. Breidis didn't lose that fight against Usyk for lack of effort. He lost that fight just because I don't think he had enough tools in his toolbox to defeat Oleksandr Usyk, and ultimately he couldn't find him in the ring as far as landing that one big punch to get him out of the ring, to hurt him, to change the complexion of the fight. And there's no shame in losing to Oleksandr Usyk. He's probably gonna go down as one of the best cruiserweights of all time. But he lost that fight, and it was by a rather wide margin. I just want to let you guys know that's how I saw the fight. But let me know how you see the fight. Like, let me know, why do you think Breidis won that fight? Because I saw some of you say Breidis is robbed and Breidis was a close fight. I didn't see it being a close fight. I saw two guys fighting their hearts out, but I saw one guy doing everything he wanted to do, and I saw one guy who knew what he wanted to do but couldn't get any of his game plan established because he's not. I don't want to say he's a one-dimensional fighter, but he's not. You don't have a lot of dimensions to his skill set. So yeah, I'll say he's a one-dimensional fighter. Was one-dimensional fighter who couldn't get what he wanted to do going. So that's why he lost the fight, and that's what it is there. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. All right, hit the like button, share the video, do all that good stuff. Like I said in every video, my name is Brendan Taylor, and you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. And that's Dania in South Florida, if you didn't know. So if you didn't know, get your damn geography up, all right? And until next time, take care, guys.